Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great Sunday afternoon. Today the video is about tactics that narcissists use and the effects that these tactics can have on the other person in the relationship. So one of these tactics that's very common is called gaslighting. It comes from the film, the 1944 film called Gaslight. In this film, a husband is trying to convince his wife that she's insane, and he does this by getting her to question her reality. So gaslighting is essentially doing this. It's using a form of persistent manipulation that happens all over in every aspect of society, but specifically where you're living with the narcissist, it's much easier to have this happen. It's a form of brainwashing, and it causes the other person to doubt him or herself and to doubt whether they are actually experiencing what they think they are, or if this is just something that they're imagining. A gaslighter's statements and accusations are often based on deliberate falsehoods and calculated marginalization. So yesterday in the video, I talked about how you need to be realistic about what is happening, because a narcissist will often do things to make you believe that the situation is not how it seems, or they will do things to offset what they are already doing. So they might be extremely manipulative and horrible in one instance, but on the other hand, they might be extremely caring and showing a lot of concern about how you're feeling. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but I think it's really important that you know what's happening. And so yesterday I talked about how journaling was one of these ways that I did that. Also creating a support system, or at least finding one person that you can really open up to and share what's happening. And that person can kind of be your compass throughout this whole situation. So be realistic about what is happening, because it's in our human nature to want to find the good and only focus on the good and ignore all of the other things that are happening. So gaslighting is a really dangerous thing, as I was just saying. And when somebody is using this tactic and employing this tactic deliberately, it's really important that you get out of that situation. And sometimes this can require planning ahead of time. And yesterday I mentioned that I have a resource on my website that has a bunch of different experts and just resources that I use throughout my journey, and two of those for sure that are on that website include experts that can help you come up with an escape plan if you're in a situation that you need some extra support to get out of. Unfortunately, churches aren't always equipped to protect and help victims of abuse, especially when it's not physical abuse, right? When there's not any evidence of this happening, when it's psychological or emotional or spiritual, financial, there's not oftentimes a lot of evidence. And so I just want to make sure everybody who's watching this video gets the resources that they need to get out. You can find that on my website, which is listed in the title of this video. So speaking of documenting things, I know of a woman who for over a year documented every single thing that was happening inside of her house. She kept meticulous notes, and she kept a diary. During this year, she got statements from even she was married. They had 5 children together. And she got even character witness statements from those who knew what was happening and his instability. He couldn't hold a job, and she would send the children all to daycare because he couldn't be trusted with them all day at home. And so she kept a documented account of everything that was happening for over a year. By the way, she's a family law attorney. So I just say that to say this can happen to anybody. It doesn't mean that only one certain part of the society is susceptible to becoming a target of a narcissistic person. It's not true. This can happen to anybody. And so this woman like I said, she documented everything that she did until the day that she filed for divorce, which was over a year later. And during that time, she even set up her own bank account, and she had a whole plan set up. So sometimes it does require that kind of level of planning in order to get out of this type of a relationship. So also remember that you can never out-educate them. I tried to touch on this yesterday during my video. If you think that you can use their tactics against them, you're wrong, because they have been learning how to do this so well since who knows how long that they've been doing it, but it's much longer than you, and you're not going to pick it up that quickly. So again, I'm very much against using their tactics against them, because that's a form of manipulation. It's better to just cut ties and to get out of the relationship. So something that happens to people when they stay in any type of an abusive relationship is something called trauma bonding. This happens whether the relationship is a physically abusive relationship or if it's emotional and mental, verbal abuse. It doesn't really matter. So in a healthy relationship, we bond with other people because we share good experiences, or at least positive experiences, and our body lets us know that those are positive by sending us a wave of chemicals that our brains are designed to release. We want those chemicals to be released, and this, people can get addicted to that too, but in a positive bonding experiences, those chemicals are normal to be released. In a situation where you are bonding with somebody who is harming you, this is called a trauma bond. And it's a result of negative experiences, whether that's physical or verbal or any type of abuse. It's the negative form of that. So when you're dealing with a narcissist, they will use extremes in order to keep you hooked. I mentioned this in my previous videos too. One moment they're the most amazing person that you've ever met, and they're just so sweet and they're so loving, they dote on you, they really seem to care about you, and then the next moment they're verbally degrading you. There might be elements of physical abuse. They'll use isolation and different psychological tactics such as manipulation against you, and you'll rationalize those things, and you'll want to believe the good aspects of the person, like, hey, the person I met used to be this, so that person must be in there somewhere. And it's normal for us to ignore the negative things that are happening and to only remember and only be drawn to the things that we want to, which are these great memories and these good experiences. But remember that everything that they do is calculated. So those things that they told you in the beginning may or may not have been real for them, but it's always a means to the end. They might actually be a generous person. They like to give, but that's not the reason they're giving is not because they're altruistic in nature. It's because they like the attention that they get when they give, or they just want, they're getting something from it for sure. There's a reason that they're doing it. So these ups and downs, really extreme highs and lows, your brain will get addicted to it. It's called trauma bonding, and it's similar to being addicted to a drug or being addicted to gambling. It's similar. The chemicals that are released in your brain or sent throughout your body are similar, and it's really toxic. It's not just bad for your psyche and bad for your soul. This is bad for your physical body. Your body will start to develop certain diseases and even autoimmune disorders where your body is literally fighting itself due to the chemicals that your brain is releasing when you're in this situation. Lots of times people on the outside will look at this situation and say, like, why are you still in this situation? This is horrible. And it's like telling an addict, why don't you just quit? Some people can't just quit. It's hard, and especially the longer that you've been in that situation, it's going to be harder to leave. But your brain is literally addicted to this situation now. So relationships with a narcissist and other cluster B personality types, they always follow the same pattern. First, it starts with idealization. This is what's called love bombing. They are all about you. They send you flowers. They, just do whatever you want to do. They seem to be, so into you. This is, again, a calculated tactic, and it's really ultimately manipulation. It was never love. And I want to talk really quickly. I want to pause what I'm talking about right now and just talk about the use of words. It's really important because I have dealt with a lot of women who have gone through this, and they'll say, but he really loves me. You're not using the term correctly. He really loves to manipulate you. They don't, you have to be conscious of what you're telling yourself, because if you are saying to yourself, this is what love looks like, you're going to start looking for that. Again, regardless of the person that's in front of you, you're going to think love behaves this way, which that is just not true. So it's really important that if you're in a narcissistic relationship or you're getting out of one, that you don't try to rationalize it, and be really cautious and conscious of the words that you're using to describe it, to describe a situation that you're in. So again, the pattern with a relationship, the pattern in a relationship with a narcissist or a cluster B personality tends to follow the same pattern: idealization, which is the love bombing, followed by devaluation, and then ultimately discarding. The devaluation process it varies from person to person. It can be as quick as a few months, or it could be decades. During this time, the narcissist is just using this person to get all of its energy from. Again, these are energy vampires. They suck the energy. They need the attention. They have such low self-esteem. They don't know how to make it intrinsically. They have to get it from outside of themselves. So in this cycle, this devaluation process can last as long as it takes until that person is literally worthless to the narcissist. At that point, the other person is so broken that they aren't offering anything to the narcissist anymore. And when that happens, then the narcissist will discard them. And so in the meantime, that the person, the subject of the narcissist abuse, will move on and will likely, start rebuilding and, doing these things. And the narcissist is never over that situation. They always keep tabs, even if it's not directly. They'll pop back up, and then they'll see that there's more energy to be had from that person, and they'll oftentimes try to reconnect. And so it's really important that people who are leaving relationships with a narcissist have a support system around them, people that they can trust, that they can be open and honest with what's happening, and who can help them stick to a plan. Yesterday I talked about establishing boundaries and the importance of that, and this is one of the things, that you are true to yourself. You honor your boundaries. You respect your own boundaries, because you're teaching other people how to treat you. So anyway, when you're leaving a narcissist, expect that narcissist to come back. Even if they're the ones who broke off the relationship or who are leaving the relationship or whatever, expect them to come back. And it's really important that you have made predetermined decisions about what you're going to do when that time comes. One of the things that happens first when you are going through a trauma is that your brain literally tries to make you not feel anything. It shuts down different receptors that would allow you to feel. This is a self-preservation function of your body, of your brain, and it continues to get damaged the longer that you experience trauma bonding. So make sure that you're in a safe place. Once you are away from the narcissist and you are wanting to go through a healing process, make sure that you're in a safe place where you can truly open up your heart and your mind to processing everything that happened to you, because this will be a really, you're really going to have to relearn a lot of things, including dealing with emotions. A lot of people tend to just continue to stuff them or ignore them. But this is one of the really important parts of the recovery process and of healing. Again, just I want to mention that keeping a journal is one of the best ways, again, to do this. And facing the facts about what is happening now and being honest about what you need to do is the best thing that you can do for yourself and for your future and for everybody that's involved in your life. You know, narcissists don't just impact one person. Think about all of the people that are connected to you. And so when you're experiencing something like this, it can really tear apart family structures. You can become isolated without friends because the narcissist is controlling, you know, who you talk to and just different things. So this is so devastating. You know, this is such a devastating thing. This is why I wanted to do these videos and just try to educate people about what is happening with narcissists. This is on the rise, and I feel like people are becoming more aware to it. And if you've been in a narcissistic relationship and want to join me for the 12-week mentorship program, please remember to apply on my website. It's listed in the title of this video again. And I hope that you've learned something from these videos. You can find more resources at my website, and that you're a little bit more equipped to identify a narcissist and what to do when you encounter them. I wish you all a blessed week and have a great rest of the day. Bye.